This is absolutely insane. We're into day 5 of the chess candidates in Cyprus. The games just keep getting better. I'm bringing you all 4 today, and we're starting right here. Hikaru Nakamura with white. He's almost in a bit of a must-win, you feel, if he's going to catch Cindarov playing with the black pieces. This is why he goes for this hyper-aggressive way of playing here. c4, e6, knight c3... and we don't see the usual knight f6 or bishop e7 stuff. No, we get pawn to c6, setting up the overpowered triangle or pyramid, call it what you will here, and it invites the sharpest move, which is e4. White's saying, fine, you're not going to fight for that square? I will play like this. We get takes, bishop b4 check. Pretty sure that Magnus once won a beautiful game against Vichy, dropping the knight back in this position. But the tried and tested way to go, if you want something sharp, is bishop d2. And you give up a pawn here. Now hang about, you just blundered a piece. But look at what this bishop's now doing. You win your piece back, I should say. Bishop blocks. And the whole point of white giving these pawns is that the black king is in a world of pain. If you take here, well, I won't show it. We're going to see it in a minute because it happens. We first get knight a6 hitting the bishop. There are different lines. You know, the bishop can step here and converge and force b6. And then there's queen d6 stuff. But in this game, we get this one. Now queen takes on g2. Bishop f3 is the point. She backs off here. Knight e2 is played. This is all mainline stuff. Knight e7. You know, you want to get castled, right? The queen is holding that one. Now we see knight g3, castles, and on move 13, Hikaru Nakamura goes disastrously wrong. He's a couple pawns down, right? Or is it one pawn? 2 pawns, I think. He's got the bishop pair, though. He's got the open lines. He's got the attacking ideas. But the move you have to play is knight e4. Instead, Hikaru plays h4. It's aggressive stuff, of course. Kicks the queen. She's defending the knight, but it's not precise. We're about to see why. Check is played over here. And before you can say, Hikaru, you look absolutely incredible. We love the way you bounce it. He gains space over there on the queen side, dares the knight to take, which it does. This is the game here. Now, you can't actually capture this knight with the bishop. Then there's knight d5, discovered check, and you win back that bishop with a better game. So castles is best. Rook e8's now played, breaking the pin, protecting the piece. Don't sleep on the back rank threats, by the way. The queen covers the square for now, though. Very important. Queen d2 is played. You're about to win a piece. And that's why c5 is forced. Covers this knight here. Now we see this rook centralise into the game. And it offers a pawn. If queen takes, though, the big problem is takes, and you've got the back rank issue once more. You just got branked. If knight takes, let's back it up. Well, then you just simply lose a queen because there's a pin. So you can't touch this pawn. We get knight f5 instead. And this is the big problem. Because this knight never came to e4, there aren't the attacking ideas for white that we see in those variations. In many of those variations, whoops, this was the game, you chop the knight before it can hop to f5. Then with the knight on e4, you can play queen g5. And there's knight f6 ideas. And you generate an attack. But here, Hikaru's got nothing better than this. Pawn recaptures and black's unraveling. You know, 2 pawns, or is it 3 pawns ahead? I lose track. I think 3 pawns now. Hikaru's thrashing. He wants bishop e5, so the queen supports that. But the knight now steps off and covers the square. One of the best lines here is taking that knight, giving up this amazing bishop, the bishop pair. Hikaru doesn't do it, understandably. He plays king h1, king h2, a tad more precise apparently. Of course, he's looking for this. Knight d4's on the board. Rook g1, g6 covers the threat here, and now Hikaru goes for some crazy attacking stuff. He's goading knight e2, which wasn't played. Not at this moment. You know, that's a fork. Queen steps in. This is still really good for black, by the way. Bishop e6, and it's -3. But if you were to take here, then you get smashed. These are the kind of things I'm sure Hikaru had in mind, was hoping to sort of send Cindarov into. But Cindarov's just too good. He plays this, sensing the danger, trying to blunt this bishop, giving a pawn, that's one back. But now Hikaru starts unravelling, or Cindarov does, sorry, getting all the pieces out. The rooks are connected, his knight's hopping like a crazy frog, and Hikaru at this moment finds nothing better than queen d2, offering a queen exchange. Not what you want when you're trying to attack, but otherwise he was just thrashing about over here. The attack doesn't actually work. So this is the game. Rook recaptures, and now we see Cindarov go for this line. There's a number of good lines, but he goes, right, it's an end game. I'm going to liquidate everything off. Sure, we're in opposite coloured bishops, but I am 3 pawns ahead. He's also 40 minutes up on the clock. Hikaru sat there just shaking his head, and it's in this position here on move 41 that Hikaru resigned. Now what's the winning technique? Well, you simply walk in with the king. White can munch these, but black doesn't care. King escorts the pawn home, you win the bishop, and then once you've done that, you come all the way back, you win that pawn, you escort this one through. If you want to get really fancy, you do a knight and bishop checkmate, which I know we can all do in our sleep. This is unreal. Cindarov is now leading the tournament clearly with 4.5 out of 5. Utterly incredible start. Let's jump to our next game, which is Anish Giri versus Wei Yi. I just had the critical position up, but let's rewind here. This was the opening. A Catalan after pawn d4 is played. Real hot topic of debate at the highest levels. Now black takes. Why would you open the diagonal? Well, white's got to take some time winning that pawn back, and then you can actually challenge the diagonal. I mean, there's many lines, right? Everyone and his dog here plays bishop c6. Wei Yi didn't do that. He played a move which isn't even in the Chess.com database. Maybe you can find it on Lead Chess, I'm not sure. But incredibly rare, maybe a novelty, I don't know. He plays pawn c5. Literally just giving up a pawn, and we're going to see the big idea. He now plays bishop c6. By the way, if you want to learn these kind of crazy openings, definitely check out Lotus Chess. They just started the Easter sale. They don't just do openings now. They also do end games. You will never get it at a better price than when these sales are on. So honestly, if you haven't yet got over there, go to the link below. It's free to get started anyway. So you may as well just download it and give it a go, right? I really do love it. I use it every day. I especially love the end game thing right now. Where else can you get that kind of end game training? It is incredible. Do check it out. Link is below. Let's carry on here. A massive question is, why can't you play b4 and support that extra pawn? Well, the ideas are you can start with bishop d5 or a5, but basically wherever the queen goes, you know, somewhere like here, you start breaking up the pawns. You know, if you push, well, black's going to actually win back that pawn. You just can't hold the chain together. You know, you want this back on a3 really, and the bishop on b2, but you don't have time for it. So that's why we don't see b4. Giri instead brings the knight out. a5 now secures that square. No b4 for you today, sir. And it's just really great prep here by Wei Yi. You know, his prep works. It backfired terribly against Fabi, as we remember. But here, he's looking good. He's just given an entire piece, but he's winning it back, because the knight can't move, pinned to the queen. So Giri does try and hold on to it. Makes Wei Yi prove it, but no way is he messing this one up. There goes the piece. Yes, it's an uncomfortable pin, but b6, thankfully there's no b4. We see rook fd1, queen slides over, mass liquidation. Can you guess where this one's headed? Yes, you guessed it. We go into a pawn end game here. Not too much to say, right? These guys are too good to start blundering this sort of stuff. We get some mass liquidation, loads of ones going into a blender, and here they agree a draw. White's got the extra pawn, but it's an unwinnable position. That was how that one finished. Let's now jump to Fabi versus Bluebaum. Now, Fabi's coming off the back of that terrible loss to Cindarov. I mean, he really got pulverized with black. So he wants to do something here. He knows he's running into this Russian defense, as they call it, Petrov defense. So solid and steady. How do you break it down? Well, we don't see the classical way of playing. We don't see knight d3, which some people are trying. We see knight c4. Now, you might start seeing a bit more of this, because Fabi gets quite a nice attack here. The pawn's taken, knight c3. Now, why would you mangle your own structure, double the pawns? Well, White's looking for all of this castle's queenside stuff. Attack, attack, attack. But this knight's not here. This is the key difference between the usual positions when you see this structure. d5's played. Not forced, but it's the line that Bluebaum goes for. Pawn to c ships. Bishop d2. And now the next move is pretty weird to my eyes. You know, bishop d6 is looking pretty natural. Start developing stuff, right? Do something with the knight soon. Don't know where you want to head it. Bit of a5, a4 action at some point in time. But Bluebaum plays g6. Now that's just red rag to a bull, right? When you know that White wants to push pawns over there on the king side and you create this little hook. Yeah, I mean, you win the e4 square. That's how things proceed. But g4, Fabi's cranking up the heat at this point. Bluebaum's sweating. Bishop d3 stacks up the bishops. Rook e8 takes. Understandable. I mean, that bishop is hardly worth more than a knight when it's so dominant and powerful on that square. Rook recaptures here, and h4. I mean, Fabi's just throwing that entire kitchen sink. Who wants to be on the black side of this? Where's all the defenders gone? Bishop e5 was played. You know, I guess scared that you were going to get squashed somehow. We see pawn c4, very explosive. Obviously, you don't want to take. You lose a rook, and it looks terrible to open this rook. So queen b6 goes for the attack on the pawn here, and c3 is the way to defend. Queen a5 in response. Now it gets the question mark. What was better? Bishop d7 apparently. Takes on d5, rook f4. Okay, not played. We saw queen a5. And Fabi now does a great bit of calculation. Who's playing king b1 here? Most people, right? It's just a knee-jerk response. Then you crack on the king side. But Fabi's like, no, I got to win today. I got to go for blood. He smells it. He plays it. Pawn h5. It's the absolute best move. And if you take, well, it's kind of like big whoop-dee. It's one check. It's a second check. But the king steps back to b1. And the checks are done. And it's White who's attacking here. The queen can transfer very quickly. It really is curtains for the black king. So we didn't see queen takes pawn. We had g5 to keep lines closed, but who wants to be playing that? So ugly. There is an amazing line here with a knight takes move. Themes of opening the bishop and attacking a loose rook, which can't retreat because this one stands in the way. You know, this one's a bit offside, to be honest. But Fabi goes for this one. Rook's hanging, so we see rook f4, queen e2. Now takes back on d5. Always play king b1. This rook switches into the attack here, but again, Fabi's got it worked out. He plays the excellent move. Pawn c4. A double explosion in this game. The queen is hit. She slides back to a6. That's a pin, so don't get taken. At least not with the pawn. Knight is good. And if you go for this terrible move, then you drop a bishop, and these checks run out. The king runs away. There's many, many different ways the king escapes. It's black who's getting hunted. So in the game, we saw f6, just defending that bishop. Bishop c3, and you can't take. It's the first instinct, but now the queen's in. This is why you needed some bishop d7 action earlier. You got to play with the whole army. You can't play chess with half the force. Now this one was tried by Bluebaum, but watch this for a finish here. It's plus 15 if you play the best move. It's plus 3 if you play the second best move, which is takes. What's the best move? It's knight takes on f6, check. Awesome stuff. You're about to take here, of course. So we do see bishop's takes, but now you just get mated. 1, 2, 3. Forced mate. Fabi takes it home in 28 moves. That is a crushing defeat for the Petrov defense there. That was game number 3. Let's now jump to game number 4. I was getting a bit trigger happy here. We see Prague's opening move. He's playing against Andreas Esapenko. Both of them are having kind of lackluster tournaments so far. Not doing too much. Both of them have lost a game. I think just one game they've lost each. Prague did also win one though. Nice game against Giri. So he's sitting a bit better in terms of points. But still, they're both trying to really kickstart the tournament here. Is this going to be the game where one of them pulls back into it a bit? Knight c3 is on the board. b6. Apparently, this has become a bit of a Vincent Keimer system, or so they were saying in studio. Jan Gustafsson, Peter Svidler, the awesome duo. They're riding again, as Agad said. Now we see knight d7. Bishop a6 covers a square. Interesting move. Knight f6, queen e2. And you're going to see a fair bit of shuffling here. It's all quite cagey. We don't see takes. Extending the scope of the dark squared bishop, creating an annoying pawn. No, instead a hop. But now it's pushed back. There it goes. Queen f2. Now Prague takes quite a long time here, but soon he rotates the queen around, sets up the big knight, and you got to wonder, what happens now if he starts going for some h3, g4 business? Okay, apparently c4 is good here. I suppose I mistimed that. But somewhere around here, let's say here, h3, what's the white-black move? I'm not sure. You know, can we go for a bit of this action? You have to be careful of c4, basically. But this looks like the aggressive try if you can make it work. Prague doesn't do it. He plays rook d2, bishop c8, shuffles around like this, moves the queen over, he's challenging the c-file, and unfortunately, the game ends like this. I mean, that's very, very disappointing, very boring. 31 moves, so much life left in the game still. Even if it is quite level, it's still a position, right? There's a lot of fight there. It's a shame to see. Anyway, that was the final game of the day. All 4 games done. Hope you enjoyed this recap. Do check out Lotus Chess. Don't miss that Easter sale. And have a look at the video on screen if you want to see some more epic chess. Cheers.